the Western world countries, in particular United States and some of the other European countries, they can pretty much print money, okay? Especially the US dollar, okay? They can pretty much print money and get away with it because the dollar is still in so much demand and is the de facto reserve currency of the world. What happens to a developing country like Bangladesh, where we do not necessarily have that luxury? Because, you know, for us, printing money immediately means rising inflation and what have you. So in this particular, if you could just harp on that for a second.
So these stimulus or incentives, I think we meant the same thing but different words. I think announcing the stimulus were quick, most countries were bold, and this was the right policy response to bring in. I think there is absolute consensus. Even some of the sort of policy analysts or economists who belong to the left to the center have also agreed, had no kind of no disagreement. Now, the question is, how do you finance the stimulus? That's your question. That's the question that's been confronting the policymakers around the world. The first option should not be printing money. In a country like Bangladesh, the first, in no particular order, let me touch upon some of the options that you have. One of the very popular stimulus financing mechanism over the last few months has been borrowing from international system, particularly multilaterals such as IMF. As you know, Bangladesh has been a great borrower in terms of its debt servicing record to the international system. Absolutely. So the Bangladesh should not shy from asking for more money from this international system or international lenders at even more favorable rate than they are. Because Bangladesh has been a good borrower, and this is the high time Bangladesh got rewarded for its performance. Second, the way the development budget of the countries are actually designed and executed. Now, in countries like Bangladesh, unfortunately, our country have done stellar in terms of its development progress over the last couple of decades, last few years, including very robust, consistent economic growth. However, there is also consensus that there remains significant inefficiency in the development spending, in the development budget, what we call ADP, annual development programs. It has always been a concern of the experts, of the analysts, that a lot of this money is not spent in a high quality way. There are leakage, there are wastage. Now, there is very strong prospect for Bangladesh to save significant amount of money and generate significant amount of additional financing by prioritizing the development projects. So Bangladesh needs to stop or defer projects which were going to start but which are not of high importance or high priority for national development. Number two, linked to the ADP, Bangladesh needs to improve the public spending quality, the overall public financial management, whereby Bangladesh can save significant amount of money from this large annual development program that the country has. So after international borrowing, the second option that Bangladesh has is managing the development budget well and squeezing significant amount of savings to finance. Third, just very quickly before you come in, the third option Bangladesh has is bringing in more private financing, because the public financing in every aspect is going to be still constrained, regardless how much Bangladesh borrows from the international system or the savings it makes. So in infrastructure, for example, or healthcare, which have been mainly subject to public funding, Bangladesh ought to bring in better private participation in these areas, whereby it can actually release some pressure from the public fund. The ultimate objective, of course, remains printing money. That is also a valid option for Bangladesh. And if necessary, my opinion, and I've heard many other policy experts also opining the same way, that if necessary this year during the crisis, which is a crisis of our lifetime, Bangladesh should not shy from printing money, but only as the last option.